The 37 AMR Performance Centre Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT3 car on its debut in the Nürburgring 24 hours has 139 laps behind it and is on the verge of victory in the SP8T class. Cup 3 Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sport Team Mathol Racing AV has the 32nd position overall for the 310 car and leads that Cup 3 class. The Cup Class 5 BMW 240 Racing at the moment going to pick some Team Adrenaline Motorsport. Yannick Fabric in the number 240 is in 35th position. If we go down to 43rd, Tiago Montero is at the wheel of the Team Castrol Honda Racing Honda Civic. Their TCR car has done 135 laps, and that 172 car leads the TCR category. Vasily Selivanov leads Black Falcon's Team Techstar towards the checkered flag in the V6 class Porsche Carrera number 133 and is in 55th position overall. 59th overall, Takemitsu Matsui, Toyota Gazoo Racing's Lexus LC leads SP Pro in 59th overall. Top 60 is completed by Daniel Burr in the 110 car. That's the Teichmann Racing KTM Crossbow GT4. Despite the problem with that rear tyre, it still leads the Cup X category. Fabian Fink leads the Porsche Cayman V5 category, the FK Performance Motorsport number 146 in 61st position. 67th, Lars Puka in the TMG Toyota GT86 leads SP3. Christoph Mag is behind the wheel of the 150 car in 71st position. Another Pixum Team Adrenaline Motorsport class leader. This is V4 for the BMW E90 325i. In 84th position, Kurt Struber for Manhella Racing, the BMW F30, the current shape of BMW, leads F2T. 93rd position, Sebastian Sherman, BMW E90 325. So there are some BMWs that are leading their classes in the later stages of this race, but not at the sharp end of the field. SP4 category leader there. And another BMW leads SP5 for Leuthauser Racing and Events, the BMW 1M Coupe for Uwe Legermann in the number 84 car in 94th position. Outside the top 100, but still class leaders, the SP4T VW Golf R. This is the MSC Zinzig car. Josef Wieser is in the 85 car. Not running at the moment, the Porsche 718 in V8T. That's the Ralph Zenson 718 numbered car in 123rd position, and 140th position, Dirk Heldman, Team Speedlight Racing, BMW Z4. That's the 50 car. That car has been out for a long time. It's still showing as a class leader, but of course it won't be officially classified. 18 minutes to go. What drama is left? That's our final race update with Hyundai. Paul, a couple of people saying, how many finishes do you think we're going to have? And is that in line with what we normally had? Slightly fewer cars started the race, but we've lost about 25% of them. Sorry, 30% of them, because we're going to be around about 100 finishes, aren't we?
I think it'll be just under 100. I was trying to answer the same question at one point during the night, and I failed to find a race where there were less than 100 finishers.
Oh, right.
I think in this race we are going to be, what are we going to, 1, 2, we can, 2, I think we're going to have about 101 finishers, bearing in mind there'll be a couple of late emergences, people emerging from the pits at the end of the race, and so I suspect that I'll give us about 100 finishes, just because that's what we always seem to have, and the Nürburgring has a habit of keeping its traditions, really.
Van Ter at the front of the field has eased his pace, 8:32.8 last time around, 8:24.8 for Estret, so the gap at the front of the field under 38 seconds. Let's not build this up too much at the moment, but we need to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, the other car which has a problem, from the point of view of getting to the finish is the number 5 Phoenix Audi, which Patrick Simon was absolutely right. We called it coming into the pits. Frank Stippler has got into it, so Frank Stippler driving the number 5 Phoenix Audi, the one running on the Dunlop tyres, but I don't think he's got enough fuel to get him to 24 hours, and in this case he doesn't need to know where the leader is, he just needs to know that he has enough fuel to get him to 24 hours. He's going to have to go into fuel saving mode to get him to 24 hours, in which case...
Can Mayer catch him? He's a minute and 46 back.
I think it's the it's either the Mayer or is it 45, which is the
Nissan
threat to him in the Nissan.
It's Mayer the next up. He's in 9th position behind Stippler, and then it's the 45, the Condor Racing Nissan.
Yeah, and both of those can get to the finish, but as I say, it's going to depend a little bit if the number 5 car, Frank Stippler, can make the fuel last to the 24 hours, and that's going to be his target. Meanwhile, Kevin Estre is now on target, if he keeps going at the pace that he's going, to be able to sneak through and get that extra lap in, so that at least, even if he doesn't be able to catch Dries Van Tor, he's got another lap to put him under pressure, and that's another reason why Dries can't afford to slow down to make his car just go to the 24 hours and no more, because otherwise he gets the squeeze put on him, because Kevin Estre comes through and overtakes him.
Well, it's another 8 minutes to make up whatever it is,
exactly,
isn't it?
Exactly right. So
it'd be like, it's a bit like playing a limited overs cricket match and finding out that, you know, if you go really well, you get an extra over to try and hit the winning runs.
There you go.
True.
Exactly like that. Yeah. So the chase is on for Kevin Estre, and as far as Dries Van Tor is concerned, he just has to drive within what the car can do and take. I mean, we talk about push without risk. This is just Dries, no risk.
Yeah, I mean, he's deliberately off most of the curbs. Suitably, he hits the curb on the exit of Adenauer Force, but this is a cleaner, more neat and tidier drive from Dries Van Tor, deliberately so, not on the ragged edge, unlike Kevin Estre, who is now 39 seconds away from the race leader.
32.8 last time around, and we're just waiting for Estre to come across the line. But the leader's a long way into the lap already.
Because what you were saying during the update, John, was absolutely correct in terms of 4 cars being on the lead lap. However, the race results, when they get published, and if nothing mad happens at the end of the race, will have at most 2 cars on the lead lap, because the other 2 cars that are on the lead lap won't be able to go through to start
another lap.
Normally be their last lap, because they're going to get the checkered flag.
Just a reminder to explain to people maybe coming to us late here in sound and vision, live from the Aston Martin Racing Lounge at the Nürburgring. At 24 hours, time elapses and the checkered flag goes out, and the next person that sees it is the first person to see the checkered flag. So once again, if the leader goes by at 23 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds, he doesn't see the checkered flag, but the next car across the line 1 second later will do.
And it's one of those silly little trivia questions you can test your friends on, is when does the person who takes the checkered flag first not win the race?
Yeah.
The answer is 99 times out of 100 at the Nürburgring 24.
Yeah, very good point. Estre is taking all kinds of risks at the moment through traffic, and it's nip and tuck really, depending on where the traffic is. I don't think he's taking that much time out of the leader, Dries Van Tor, and fair play to Dries. He's done a very good job. This is a big responsibility on this young driver's shoulders. Johnny Palmer, the Van Tor boys have done good this weekend. They're going to both be on the podium.
Just, whilst you've got your database open, Johnny, I'm trying to think of a major 24-hour race that Dries would have won, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you've got a little bit more data at your disposal. People keep throwing questions at me. I'll throw one at you for a change.
Well done.
Thanks. We should mention that these boys are second-generation drivers as well. Raphael Van Tor has done a fair bit of endurance racing in the past in the Blancpain Series, did the Belcar Championship back in the mid-2000s as well. So Dries Van Tor is the question, isn't it? Major races won by Vantor Minor. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I mean, Pierre Caffer, I don't think has been a winner here, although he's a vastly experienced driver. And I think he comes from very close from the Nürburgring. He's a local boy. He grew up coming to races here, and
Chris Porritt and Klaus Graf were the people who mentored me around the first laps I ever drove around here.
yeah, well, Pierre Caffer has been coming here for a very long time and is very much a Nürburgring specialist.
Last year's Liqui Bathurst 12-hour was won by Dries Vantor, Stuart Leonard and Robin Freins in an Audi Sport.
Last year's 2018.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yeah, not the last one that ran.
Okay.
No.
Yep, okay, I'll go with that.
That was this year.
Yeah.
So he has,
I know it's been a long year
No, I'm
already.
explaining for people who don't know.
So he has had the experience of
Has
this.
Dries won a class at Le Mans as well, by the way?
Wasn't he in the
LMP2?
84? No, wasn't he in the 84 JMW Motorsport Ferrari in GTE AM when Will Stevens was part of that lineup and Rob Smith? I'm pretty sure Dries was in the car then.
Yes.
That's very easily checked.
So,
Bear with me.
There's no reason to suppose that Dries might be feeling the pressure at this point, given that level of experience. We're on lap 155.
10 minutes to go.
Out of what will be a 157 lap race. The question for Kevin Estre at the moment is, will he be able to get by before 24 hours and go on to his 157th lap as well? We've got the race leader coming out of Tiergarten at the moment. Look across to our right out of the box here.
And Johnny is going to tell us about Dries' class wins at Le Mans.
2017, the Le Mans 24 Hours, he was victorious in GTE AM for JMW Motorsport with Will Stevens and Rob
Well
Smith.
remembered, yes.
Yeah. It's only because the 84 Ferrari is going pretty well 7 days ago, and we were also trying to remember the last time Ferrari had won at Le Mans. I think it was 2014 in Pro, but only 2 years ago in GTE AM with the year-old cars.
The leader then, Dries Vantor, onto lap 156 now.
One
Here
more
comes
after this for him.
Here comes the Porsche.
If he wants it.
Well, the Porsche wants it desperately to get onto this extra lap. Now, he took 5 seconds off on the previous lap. More traffic, though, for Kevin Estre to deal with. Into the pits as they come through the start-finish line.
Here's Estre.
Estre goes.
Estre's gone through with 8:38 to go. So I think if he has any type of a decent lap, he will get onto that last lap and be able to put a bit more pressure. He's got
He'll do
cars
it.
ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll should get through, and that gives him 1 extra lap, as you were saying, John, to catch up with Dries Vantor.
So it will be 157, barring anything bizarre, for those two only.
And the checkered flag will come out, though, when Hubert Haupt in the number 3, third-placed Black Falcon Mercedes comes through at the end of his 156th lap, because at the moment Hubert Haupt is all the way around Verseifen. In fact, he hasn't even reached Verseifen yet.
And where's Christopher Haas in
The number
in relation
14.
to the Mercedes there?
It's just coming out
Is that a
of
minute?
sector
56
5.
seconds?
Yeah, it's coming out of sector 5 at the moment.
That'll be disappointing for that team, having to give up a podium position for a splash of fuel. 4 laps to go.
Well, they kind of set the tone, really, once it was clear that the Lant car was the better placed car, and René Rast and Christopher Haase jumped ship, went over to the Lant team, with both of them having the option which car they drove, whether it was them who actually made the decision or somebody higher up in the Audi organisation. I suspect probably the latter. But it did mean that the number 14 car had to make do for the most part of the race with Marcel Fessler and Markus Winkelhock. Christopher Haase coming back to that car towards the end of the race to do the final stints.
Massively clear run for the leader before he gets anywhere near back markers, about a third of a lap.
That one is only showing SP9.
Really?
Cars,
Okay,
so
right, okay.
I can make it show everybody if you want.
No, that's fine. At least I can see where both of them are.
And the 14 car, we must remember, didn't even take part in top qualifying because it ended one of the sessions on the end of a tow rope, on a flatbed, in fact. So, and they hadn't made the top 28 by that point. I think it started on the grid in 29th position, and the first of the cars not to be, therefore, in the chevron formation, the Le Mans style formation, as the cars were gridded up. So from 29th to 4th, and it might have been 3rd, is a good run for that 14 car collection Audi.
Taking house inside the top 10 at 9.
And now I've put
Nissan at 10th.
Now I put all the cars on that map, John. Your initial point was absolutely right. Kevin Estre does have a very clear run. The traffic ahead is going to hinder Dries van Toor more sooner than it hinders Kevin Estre.
Out of the pit lane, the foxtail is flapping.
Here we go.
It's not quite as it left the grid yesterday. There's a bit more white tape over it, but it's a pretty good effort of getting that car looking at its best, considering what it was. And there's a round of applause from the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Even BMW fans are clapping. Even the leading Audi team claps that car out. Fantastic stuff. That is so much a part of this race. I presume it was Walter Streichek who took it out.
I think not, actually.
Really?
Let me just check.
Walter Streichek I worked with many years ago when I was with RML. He was head of the OPC, Opel Performance Centre, and we did a few projects, quite a lot of projects for OPC.
We've got Olaf Beckman on the
right.
Me too.
driver ID. So
well, it was Olaf who crashed the car, so he gets to do the glory laps. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's been patched together with new parts with the Cupra team who lost their own car. It was the FEV team over the barriers at the end of the Foxhole.
Horrible looking accident.
They worked right through the night to get that car back together. It's had to be taped up and patched up, but it's a good 10-footer.
Yeah,
from 10 foot away, it looks pretty good.
Absolutely. The front left wing is slightly off-white. It might even be grey.
I think that's primer.
Who cares?
Yeah, I think that's primer grey.
Yeah.
I really do. But they've put the decals on that need to be on there.
They'll spray it up afterwards, and it'll be out for the next VLN race as well, second weekend of July. No trouble.
I'm looking forward to that already. So we have an extra flappage in the last run around. It will be the last lap for that car. The checkered flag will be out next time around, but Dries van Toor will cross the line with about between 45 seconds and a minute to go. This is fantastic that we're seeing so much love and affection for this Manta. Over 100,000 kilometres raced here on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and it's heading out for one last run. This year, I have no doubt that it will be back again. Such a fan favourite. And it's on the Nordschleife with 3:21 to go. That will be its last lap for this year. It won't be classified. They don't care. They're getting it to the finish, which, Johnny, is the absolute essence of this event and endurance racing.
All is right with the world once again at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, because a 24 hours around this place cannot be completed without the Opel Manta. Carrying two race numbers, remember, that's the old number 601 on the windscreen. Sometimes it runs in the H categories, but it's an SP3 car this weekend, and Olaf Beckman completing the lap that he wasn't able to do much earlier in the race.
Spare a thought as well for Wayne Moore on his 25th anniversary at the Nürburgring. His car has been retired unless some magic can be woven. Trying to keep an eye on the pit lane exit as well, but that car hasn't been seen for about 6 hours now, so I suspect it won't be coming out. But having said that, we didn't see the Manta for something more like 10 hours. And it still put it in the performance.
And let's also mention, although it hasn't made it to the end, the 50 BMW had an engine changed because they didn't want that car, which it is its last outing here in that guy's, the Z4. Eventually went out with crash damage, didn't it? And also remember that GT Golf, which had pretty much everything replaced.
That's still going.
And that is still going.
Yep.
That is still going. As we said earlier, it probably won't do, it will not do enough laps to be classified, but not a single person in that all-female team of drivers and engineers and mechanics will care one jot about that, and they will be, I hope, justly proud. I hope they'll be very proud indeed that they have got that car, that GT Golf, to the end. Now we're starting to get people. The Calibra's pulled up. Here comes Vantour. There's some people who don't want to do an extra lap, and Vantour does. So he's streaking past them as he comes under the Bilstein Bridge for his penultimate time with 1 minute and 12 to go. No doubt he's going to get onto the last lap. Where is the Porsche number 911 of
just coming
Estre?
onto the Dottinger Hoa now, I reckon. He's having to make his way through a bit more traffic than in the end. He got more traffic, the Porsche. But so going through with still a minute to spare. Dries Vantour in the Audi for Phoenix Racing.
Now 45 seconds and the Porsche's got to get through, and there's a lot of cars stacking up on the Dottinger Hoa. He slowed down.
On the Dottinger Hoa.
He slowed down. He's not going to do it.
No.
Manthey, I think they've probably sent the word out and said, don't do it. They're going to give them the lap. They're going to give them the laps win.
Yeah.
24 seconds to go. Kevin Estre is not trying. He's coming to the line. They realise that this is not to be theirs, and they are going to respectfully hand the lead lap for just one car to the Audi number 4.
I have absolute respect for that. The only thing that grieves me slightly is that when you read the results in years to come, it will look like the race was won by a whole lap, and clearly it hasn't been.
No.
The live stream.
Checkered flag is out, and seeing it first, the BMW. That's one of the cars painted up like the track that had problems earlier on. Finishes in 62nd position. The Mantis come through. The KTM Crossbows are going through there. The alternatively fueled Viper has got to the end.
Yes, that did get to the end after a long and troubled night, but it's been running fairly well all this morning, since about 8 o'clock this morning. So a good a round of applause for that Viper, and he will be classified, I think, in the AT class in 4th place.
Through comes the second place car, flashing the lights, allowing a couple of BMWs to come up alongside. Oh, don't squeeze them in the wall, Kevin. He's gone right over to the team. Always a dangerous time. We've seen accidents there before when people have been dawdling across the line. The Calibra's gone across the line as well, inside the top 100. One of the teams are going to be very unpopular for firing off the confetti cannon on the pit lane. Well, that's very classy by Porsche and by Manthey Racing. Manthey could not be any more local. They are just around the corner off the Gottlieb Daimler Strasse. Now in the hands of Porsche, but still very much carrying Olaf Manthey's name. And the MR on the back of any car's descriptor means that it has been put together with love, care, passion and an understanding for racing on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And they have given the lead lap exclusively to the victors, and Dries Vantour has now got a proper victory lap with the patched up BMW looking like an art car in some respects, as it's at the top of the foxhole now. Dries won't be quite the last car to come across the checkered flag and take the win, but he won't be far out. Well, an extraordinary race. Johnny Palmer, your thoughts as Dries Vantour is on his way back round to his team, who are waiting patiently and still slightly nervously for that car to come back the last 20 k's or so.
Well, this race has done it again in sheer unpredictability. I don't think anybody really thought an Audi could win this weekend because of the dominance of Mercedes and Porsche in the qualifying sessions and then in the top qualifying. But they kind of just do what they do, Audi. They don't do anything flamboyantly in the midweek sessions, but they have a plan. And yes, they needed 1 or 2 cars to fall away at the sharp end, but they now will have won this race 3 times in the last 5 years. It's been a little bit of a wait for Phoenix Racing. Their last victory in this race, 2014. But nice for Dries Vantour to now join his older brother as a winner of this race. Laurens completing the victory in 2015 when he was with Audi, has since moved on to the Porsche brand, of course. But we've had victories for Lant Motorsport 2 years ago, Team WRT 4 years ago, and then in 2014 it was the last Phoenix Racing victory when Christopher Haase, Christian Mamaro, René Rast and Marcus Winkelhock were victorious in the longest race so far in the history of the N24, 159 laps. We came close to it this year, 157. And as Paul says, this will appear to be a dominant victory on paper when the result sheet is printed. It has been far from that.
Whilst we wait for our winner to come round, he's about halfway around at the moment. Let's have a look at some of the classes, if we may, Paul. Just scroll to the top of that one. There we are. Frank Mayer brings home the Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus SCG 003C in 9th position, winning SPX. It's Milner Motorsports Porsche in SP7, the 62 car 15th. 18th Tobias Muller for Black Falcon, Mercedes in SP10. SP3T Subaru all the way through the race, 19th position for the 88 car. 20th for Bernard Hensel, GT Tyre Motorsports Audi R8 LMS. Didn't see much of that car, but it's won SP8. The 320 Porsche GT3 Cup won 80 for Team Care for Climate, finished 22nd overall. Inside the top 30 for Schmickler Performance, Porsche Cayman GT4 CS, the number 80 car, winning SP6. Aston Martin Racing up to 28th position, and Peter Keith brings home the new Vantage on its debut at this event to win SP83. There's a little golf clap from Paul Truswell just to my left. The 29th position is another race winner and class winner for Tim Mathol Racing. The Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sport has taken the victory in Cup 3. Just outside the top 30, but making up a position on the last lap. Picks up Team Adrenaline Motorsport, one of 2 winners for that team. The Class 5 Cup, the BMW M240 racing car, the 240 wins it. 42nd, Tiago Montero wins TCR for Team Castrol Honda Racing with the Honda Civic in 42nd. In 55th, Vasily Selivanov for Black Falcon Team Techstar. The Porsche Carrera V6 winner, 133. 56 car number, 59th on the road for Takamitsu Matsui. Toyota Gazoo Racing's Lexus wins SP Pro. 60th position, Fabian Finnick for FK Performance Motorsports Porsche Cayman team wins V5. Daniel Bohr for Teichmann Racing GmbH KTM Crossbow GT4 wins the Crossbow Cup X, we should say Cup Cross Class, shouldn't we? 5 TMG United Motorsport, Toyota Motorsport rather, the GT86 wins SP3. Christoph Mag brings home the number the 70th position car. That's the 152nd from of the winners from Pixum Team Adrenaline Motorsport, the BMW E90 325i. Kurt Strub has brought home the 84 Manheller Racing BMW F30 V2T winner in 84th. 93rd Uwe Legerman for Leuthese Racing and Events BMW 1M Coupe wins SP5. SP4 goes to another BMW at 325i, the E90 shaped car. The 94th place finisher Sebastian Schemann driving that one to the line. 110th position, Josef Wieser for MSC Zinzig. The VW Golf wins SP4T. V3T, Porsche 718, Ralph Zenzen 718 in 121st. And Team Speedline Racing's BMW will be scored, but that car has been withdrawn. And all of that in the time that it has taken our leader to do the last half of the lap, because he is eased off and he is gently moving towards the line. Paul Truswell, what a cracker. And an hour and 10 minutes led by Audi, the only important hour and 10 minutes. In fact, the only important next half a kilometre has been led by Audi, by Dries Van Toor and by the rest of the number 4 Audi team.
Yeah, 16 laps in the end led by that Audi, including the one that it's on at the moment. And I think Adam Christodoulou said it right. He said it was the race that nobody wanted to win. That Black Falcon Mercedes, his Black Falcon Mercedes, that led the race. It could have won the race. Indeed, it led twice as many laps as the Phoenix Audi did. But a superb performance from them as he come up to the line now, John.
I don't care whether the reports of a puncture for Manthey are true or not, that was still pretty classy that they didn't push at the end. But through and across the line to win the 2019 47th running of the ADAC 24 Hours at the Nürburgring. The names that will go on the trophy are that of Kaffer, Stippler, Vervish and Van Toor. Dries Van Toor joins his older brother as a winner and brings home the number 4 Audi. What a run. It's not in bad nick, just a tiny little bit of the rear guard behind the right rear wheel, Johnny Palmer, that's missing from that. But other than that, it looks in pretty good nick.
Yeah, that was after the Phoenix Audi was side to side on many occasions with the 29 Lant car, and it looks like at times it had adopted part of the livery of the Lant car. It was tough to tell those two cars apart as they were smacking sections out of one another at the end of the Dottinger Hook.
Casual aging John writes the headline for all of the motorsport journalists. Phoenix from the ashes.
Oh, very clever. Yeah, and Peter Kate coming home right at the end there with the Aston Martin. He knows how to stage a good finish, because actually I'm not sure that he has come through yet. Still waiting for Peter Kate's car to come through. Overall, he is in 28th place, and he has come through.
Yeah, he's come through.
Right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Nice that Peter was given the honour to bring that car home. Peter has been a part of the Aston programme for a very long time and a real Nürburgring specialist, but a fabulous driver in his own right, and should not be pigeonholed as just a driver for here or a driver for here drive. We've seen him doing some TCR racing as well.
But another team effort, and David King very keen to point out it is a team effort, and who would have thought it with that car starting, or not starting, with Alex Brundle at the very start of the race. Couldn't get a gear, spent 25 minutes in the pits trying to sort out the gearbox, and then managing to bring it all the way home to the checkered flag with Alex and Jamie Chadwick, Peter Kate sharing the driving. Not a foot put wrong by any of those drivers.